You're recording guitar at home. You got the guitar, the interface, the industry standard recording software with the world's worst subscription model. And you've shelled out for that super premium, ultra authentic amp sim that all the influencers are swearing by. That's at least until next week, until the next big thing comes up. You checked every single box, and yet your mix still sounds like this. Yeah, that sounds like the audio equivalent of a participation trophy. It's not exactly the wall of sound that you were promised. So here's the thing. You don't need to blow your life savings to get pro results. Chances are you've already got exactly what you need. So what don't you have? The knowledge, the mindset, and the ability to stop thinking like a guitar player and start thinking like an engineer. Here's 13 ways you're ruining your own guitar sound and how to fix them, because you should be getting results like this. Oh yeah, and I guess I should mention, that entire mix was done with nothing but free plugins. The cat's out of the bag, the genie's out of the bottle, the bass player's out of the band. Just kidding, he never showed up to practice in the first place. Let's get real here. Amp sims are kind of like porn these days. If it exists, there's already a dozen versions of it. 1 in 50, 150, there's about 5 billion of them. Marshall Plexi? Yeah, no shit. ADA MP1? Nembridi's got a killer version. Rockman? Of course. Every Black & Decker guitar tone you'd ever need while flying off to the danger zone. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The single best amp sim on the entire planet. The one that can keep up with the Kemper and the Axe effects. The one that actually beats them in some blind tests. Costs absolutely nothing. It's called Neural Amp Modeler. It's free, it's open source, and yes, it sounds this freaking good. That's my own personal amp, the Morningwood, modeled using NAMM, and I'll show you how to get your hands on it later on in this video. So if you're still out there paying for amp sims without even trying NAMM, the hell are you doing? Go Google Neural Amp Modeler, download a few captures, and blow your mind for absolutely $0. And for the bass players in the room, pay attention to this part. It's called Neural Amp Modeler, not Neural DSP. That's right, two different things like Star Wars and Star Trek. Different tech, same confused dumbasses. Let's have another one of those uncomfortable, honest moments with Glenn. Your amp miking technique is probably worse than your songwriting. And considering that half of you think a breakdown means slamming on the low string while looking sad in a warehouse, I'm not sure which one's more tragic, because I've heard your recordings. A lot of them sound like you shoved an SM57 into a wet sock, dropped it in behind the cab, and prayed to whatever tone god you believe in. Hint, he's not listening because Crumb does not care. But here's some actual helpful advice. If you don't know how to record a real amp properly, and you probably don't try to be a hero. No one's handing out medals for almost getting usable tone after 14 hours of mic placement and still fucking it up. This is why amp sims exist, for people like you. But here's the part that absolutely blows my freaking mind. You finally try an amp sim and you pick the most complicated one on the planet. Why?
Oh look, it's got 4 power amps, 11 cow blocks, and a knob labeled Presence of Virtual Power Tubes aged in Kentucky bourbon.
Oh, come the fuck on! You can't even spell impulse response, and now you're trying to tweak power amp bias settings like you're Eric Valentine in 2003. This is the wrong approach. There are simple, effective solutions out there. Stuff like Bogren Digital's amp knob. You turn one knob and it sounds good. That's it. You don't need an engineering degree and 3 YouTube tutorials just to get your guitar to stop sounding like fried assholes. And better yet, you can get the home studio cheat code, my system, to get pro level results with free plugins. Plus you get 6 killer amp captures, including my Morningwood. Yes, really, the Spank Verb and the Bong Ripper, because hey, we're adults here. Plus, you get a full set of impulse responses made from my personal cabinet collection, including my vintage 77 Blackbacks, and they're all captured through a real Neve Genesis Black console. And if you're a Reaper user, it is literally drag and drop. No menu diving, no 300-page manual, just sound that freaking works! Now, if you're still insisting on doing it the real way with a $10 mic stand and a cab jammed into your laundry room, congratulations, you're the audio equivalent of a guy who churns his own butter because he doesn't trust Big Dairy. Let's be honest with ourselves for a change. If you're just starting out, nobody gives a flying fuck if you mic'd a cabinet or not. We care about the result. Now go write something awesome. Are you just recording guitar in your bedroom? Is that literally all you're doing? Well, then you might not need an RME Fireface, a Focusrite Red 16 line, or a freaking Antelope Galaxy. Seriously, folks, put down the credit card and back away slowly. Modern entry-level interfaces are fantastic about home recording. But what about converters?
Shut the fuck up!
Let's be honest, you didn't even know what converters were until some dickwad on a forum told you that yours were bad, and now you're out here acting like you've got golden ears? Well, guess what? The SSL2, 116.5 dB signal-to-noise ratio, and the new Focusrite Scarlett's 122 dBs. That's freaking nuts! For context, 2-inch analog tape, the gold standard that the industry used for decades, barely hit 64 decibels on a good day, and 100 dB with Dolby, and that's if the wind was right. So yeah, the converter debate is done. The interface isn't the problem, your performance is. And hey, one more thing. Please, for the love of Crom, do not try to use your Kemper as your recording and playback interface. The hardware amp sim out there with the worst user interface on the planet, and you think it's going to be a recording solution? It's like trying to run the Indy 500 on a fucking unicycle. I literally just went over to a friend's place where he was trying to do this. He had a Focusrite 4i4 just sitting there, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Well, I saw a video where they were doing it. Yeah? And is it working? Well, no. Dude, you literally have the easiest interface in the world sitting right next to it. Let's use that! But the Kemper guys said, they're not here giving you tech support! I, on the other hand, am! I took time out of my fucking day to come over here! So I hooked up the Scarlett, got him up and running, and he's never looked back. Look, don't complicate your life trying to make things do what they weren't really designed for. The Kemper is great at mimicking amps on an interface that's always slightly easier to use than BASIC was on a Commodore 64. Please, record with a purpose-built interface and just unfuck your life. You'd think this wouldn't be an issue, especially since guitar players love listening with their eyes. Ooh, look, it's hitting the top. That means it sounds good. Never underestimate a home recording musician's ability to completely fuck up the most basic thing. And nothing screams, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, louder than slamming your input into the red like it owes you money. Now, to be fair, it's not even the guitarist's fault. Well, that used to be true, because back in the day, a lot of entry-level interfaces, I'm looking at you, first-gen Focusrite Scarlett, had no headroom. You plug in a hot pickup and boom, instant clipping. You literally couldn't make the signal quiet enough. It was like they designed the whole thing in a boardroom full of boomers who thought a single-coil Stratocaster was metal as fuck. Even Neve got this wrong with the 88M. Yeah, that Neve, and I'm sure they were absolutely thrilled with the video I made detailing that issue. But to their credit, they fixed it. They added a pad and boom, problem solved. And props for that, Neve fucking rocks. They've also got the best tech support in the industry. Now luckily, most small modern interfaces like Audient, Focusrite, finally, Lewitt, PreSonus, and Antelope can all handle the job now. The hardware has finally caught up. Hell, most of them even light up red when you're going over the edge. And for the record, this is a bad thing. In analog, occasionally hitting the red could sound cool. In digital, it's more like, congratulations, you just recorded garbage again. Let's be clear, clipping your input isn't saturation. It's not mojo, it's not vibe, and it sure as fuck isn't analog warmth. It is digital dog shit. You're not driving it harder, you're just destroying your waveform and handing your amp sim a mess of square waves and broken dreams. So what happens next? Now your amp sim is faithfully modeling what it would sound like if you ran your guitar signal through a broken toaster before it hit the amp. One more time, 1 or 2 accidental clips, that's survivable. But if you're redlining on every single note, you're not recording tone, you're baking a distortion cake out of pixelated trash, and no amp sim in the world is ever gonna save that. But Glenn, this stuff is all just common sense. Yeah, then why the hell do I keep seeing the same screw-ups in every single mix review show that I do? If common sense actually happened in home recording, then I wouldn't be making this video right now. But that is exactly why I created the Home Studio Cheat Code. It's not a feel-good fluff test with 19 hours of use your ears nonsense. It's a blunt force, no bullshit guide to get pro results with free plugins and get them fast. Because here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Free plugins can get you pro level results if you know how to set your levels, gain stage like an adult, and not set your EQ on your guitars like a smiley face. If you've got a decent interface, a computer made after 2015, and at least 2 functioning brain cells, then you can get pro level results like this. And yeah, that was mixed entirely with free plugins, including the guitar tone, which was modeled using Neural Amp Modeler. And yes, that's my custom amp, the Morningwood. The cheat code gives you that tone, plus 5 others. And if you're a Reaper user, drag, drop, done. In fact, the whole home studio cheat code system was created on Reaper. You're also gonna get an exclusive set of my impulse responses from my personal cab collection, plus 4 weekly live group calls where I tear apart mixes from inside the program and show you exactly how to fix them. Now, this is the first course that I've ever made under my own name. It's not some partnership, there's no middleman, no BS, it's just me showing you what works, and it's only $147 until tomorrow night. That's it. After that, you're out of luck because this is an introductory price that you're never gonna see again because I'm trying to make this the best program I possibly can. For that, I need your feedback. So if you're tired of guessing and you actually want your tone to not suck, go get the home studio cheat code and get these kind of results with my Morningwood. Yes, we just did the too hot, but now we've got to deal with too cold thanks to yet another brilliant wave of internet misinformation. At some point, some dickhead out there decided that because a real amp might react differently to lower input levels, that you should always record your DI as quietly as possible. And like clockwork, the forums lit up with the brand new rule, probably scrawled in crayon. Here's the thing, it doesn't. It sounds like somebody fell asleep on the input knob. This is a stupid rule created by dumbasses who don't understand how signal works in a digital recording. They think headroom means make the waveform as small as possible so I don't hurt the poor plugin. Like the amp sim's gonna cry if you set it a proper signal. Meanwhile, what they're actually doing is choking their tone to death and wondering when it sounds like a damn fart in a cardboard box. Here's the truth, recording at negative 30 dBFS peak isn't engineer brain, it's broadcast signal flow pretending to be smart. Modern amp sims expect a real DI signal, something with meat on it, not some malnourished, underfed waveform that looks like it needs a blanket and a cup of soup. If your tone sounds thin, noisy, and lifeless, it's not because your signal's too strong. Unless you're clipping, then it is. The actual fix is to use a better impulse response. And if that sounds weird, don't worry, I'm sure someone in the comments will explain why I'm wrong loudly and badly. Yes, every single fucking time, get one of these, a clip-on tuner. That costs like what, 15 bucks? That's less than a date with your bass player's mom, and that includes dinner and cab fare home. Now use this thing before every take. I don't care if you just tuned, and don't care if it felt fine. I don't care if you're in the zone. If you're not in tune, you're wasting everyone's time, including your own. Because here's the deal, a perfectly played take that's out of tune is still a garbage take. Doesn't matter how emotional it was, it doesn't matter how locked into the groove it was, or how much you think you nailed it. If the notes are sour, the take is dead. Yes, it's tedious, yes, it kills your momentum, and yes, it's absolutely fucking necessary! You can punch in timing, you can fix phase, you could even replace entire drum performances, but you cannot fix tuning once the track is recorded. And thank Crom that auto-tune for guitars still isn't a thing. They haven't figured out a way to ruin guitar yet, so shut the fuck up and stop asking for it! Just grab a tuner and do the damn thing. Your mix and your future self will thank you. Or just buy an Evertune guitar and concentrate on your performance instead. This might sound like a contradiction because I just told you to tune your damn guitar, and now I'm telling you to detune it? Well, not exactly. Even if you get every string perfect on your tuner, the guitar really isn't in tune because here's the truth nobody's willing to admit. The guitar is a fundamentally flawed instrument. It's built on a compromise, and it always has been. And that means when you're perfectly in tune digitally here on the tuner, your chords still might not sound quite right. So what do? You shift just a little. You shift a few strings up or down a few cents based on what you're playing. It's called sweetened tuning, and it can make a difference between passable and holy shit, that really sounds great. Pete Thorne's got an amazing video on this subject about how Eddie Van Halen would use that sort of idea in the studio. I think it's awesome, and I think you should definitely check it out. But here in my own studio, I figured this out the hard way many years ago. If you're playing in drop tunings like drop D or drop C, you can detune the bottom string by about 10 to 12 cents. And trust me, your chords will sound way better and more powerful. Let me show you what I mean. So here's tuned to the tuner. And if we just take that down about 10 cents, it's gonna make for better chords. So yeah, always tune your guitar, but make sure your guitar is in tune with itself. That's not cheating, that's just smart engineering. Every time that I go to NAMM and I see Floyd Rose, I don't know whether to go up to him and shake his hand or just slap him. Yeah, Floyd is a great trem when it's set up right. And that's the problem, because nothing derails a recording session faster than a badly set up Floyd Rose. I have lost track of how many guitar players bring in a Floyd equipped guitar that they swear is dialed in only to change string gauge at the very last minute. And the next thing you know, the action's half an inch off the fretboard, the bridge is tilted skyward like it's trying to catch air at the X Games, and we're spending 90 minutes rebalancing the damn trem instead of tracking. And that's while the band is paying me full hourly rate. Yeah, great use of your money, guys. And then after all of that, I have to spend the rest of the day explaining to the guitar player not to strum open chords like they're trying to snap the fucking neck off, because when you bash the strings that hard, the springs on the back of the Floyd will stretch and the whole guitar goes flat. And yeah, trust me, that just sounds absolutely awesome when you're quad tracking rhythm guitars. And that is why most of my studio guitars have fixed bridges, including this Guitar Fetish Steve Brown special, which normally ships with a Floyd. They want to send me one, I'm like, no thank you, I'll wait for a hardtail. Because believe it or not, I would rather spend my time here in the studio actually recording the guitar instead of setting it up. I know, what a shocker. Now, if we're talking about studio grade whammy bars, honestly, I think the Kahler here is a better design, because thanks to its cam system, you can beat the hell out of the strings and it still stays in tune. But of course, it never caught on like the Floyd, probably because it was too practical for most guitar players. This always blows my mind because it's the easiest thing to fix, and yet somehow so many guitar players treat a shitty cable like it's a beloved family pet that's just a little thick. If your cable isn't passing signal, for fuck's sakes, replace the damn thing. We are trying to get signal from the guitar to the computer. That's the whole point. That is why we're here. So why the fuck are you using some bargain bin spaghetti wire that fails at the one job that it's supposed to do? Look, I get it. Life happens. Money is tight. And you've got to prioritize the important stuff. Beer, DoorDash, that new tribal sleeve that you're going to regret in 5 years. But a working cable? No, that's just optional, right? Because it still kind of works. Yeah, that is until it doesn't, like in the middle of the one take that you finally get right. The one time you almost didn't suck. And then crackle, your tone vanishes like your drummer's sense of timing. Let me make this real simple. Buy a good cable. It's one of the few things in music gear that's actually worth the money. This cable right here, this is a George L's. I bought it in 2007 after it won a major shootout for lowest impedance. It's been used on every single guitar and bass track I've recorded in the studio since then. And it finally died last month. Look at this, somehow this shit got broken right here and I don't know why. But George L's, I reached out to them and they said, yeah, we'll replace it for free. I just gotta send it in. Apparently that's their policy. And that is what I call a great investment that is totally worth it. So do yourself a favor and stop being a dumbass. Stop trusting your tone to a cable that came free with a $20 Behringer pedal. Fix your shit! You ever plug your guitar into your computer, strike a massive power cord, and then the sound shows up half a second later like it missed the bus? It's 2025 and this still fucking happens! Especially if you're a PC user. I just don't get it. We've got computers that can deepfake Morgan Freeman into a TikTok for hemorrhoid cream, but getting real-time audio out of your system without delay? Apparently that's still too much to ask. Latency is the time it takes for the sound to go through your computer and come back out. And for amp sims, low latency is everything. If your system's dialed in, it should feel instant, like playing a real amp. And on my system, I'm running 64 channels all at the same time. I've got analog, Dante, Matty, all at 96 kilohertz with zero issues. But hey, I'm on a Mac. If you're a PC user on the other end, you've only got two options. Number one is to become a Windows optimization wizard who knows how to disable everything from USB power management to Cortana's creepy keeping tabs on your porn viewing habits feature. Or you can offer up a blood sacrifice to Chrome and hope your latency magically drops below 20 milliseconds. Because Windows, in its infinite wisdom, lets every single program run in the background and fight this for the CPU like it's the Hunger Games. Printer software, cloud sync, telemetry updates, all of that shit is going on, and none of that gives a single shit that you're trying to record the riff of your life. So yeah, clicks, pops, crackles, and gentle audio mayhem. Welcome to the Windows audio party. If you're a guitar player and you're using Windows, congratulations. You are now an audio engineer, whether you like it or not. Because somewhere deep in Microsoft HQ, somebody said, you wanted reliable audio? Here's a forced Windows 11 upgrade instead. Meanwhile, over here in Macland, drop in your interface driver, set your buffer size, and done. If you want to use multiple interfaces, just create an aggregate device. Boom, easy. But if you're on a PC and you want to run more than one interface at the same time, honestly, we've got all of this massive AI power out there, so instead of using it to generate yet another anime girl with oddly specific proportions, maybe somebody out there could train it to create a universal prioritized audio config file for Windows. Just load and go. No registry hacks, no bias voodoo, just working audio. Yeah, and that's about as likely to happen as Jeff Bezos finally paying his workers fairly. I still see this come up on my mix review show way too much. Look, if you're a beginner, it's an easy mistake to make, so don't feel bad. Hell, my first recordings were done straight out of the back of my extremely awesome 85-watt Gorilla amp, which absolutely did not sound like a waffle iron being strangled in a dumpster fire. Nope, not at all. Here's the deal. The guitar sounds that you love on records, literally all of them, or about 99.999% of them, unless you're listening to Led Zeppelin No Quarter, came from a mic'd up speaker, not from the line out of your amp, not some random speaker emulation circuit that sounds like somebody farting through a chute box. You can't fake a speaker cab with analog components. That's why the original Mesa cab clones sounded like fried assholes, because you can't simulate a speaker with just resistors and hope for the best. What you need is an impulse response. Unfortunately, there are some killer ones out there that sound great just right out of the box. In fact, inside the home studio cheat code, you can literally drag a preset into Reaper and get this sound from my Morningwood. No impulse? You get this. Can you hear the difference? I hope you're paying attention, because if your guitar sounds like this, yeah, that's not a good thing. An impulse response is a digital snapshot of a speaker, a mic, and in my case, even the Neve console that I ran it through. So if your guitar tone sounds like this, it's because you didn't finish the damn signal chain. This is what you're going for. Don't skip this part. Don't be that guy. This is one of the easiest wins you're ever going to get in all of home recording. No excuses. And if you're a Reaper guy and grab my home studio cheat code, you can literally just drag, drop, and done. Even your bass player can figure this out. And let's be honest, you are probably smarter than your bass player. There are two basic types of electrical circuits, series and parallel. Now, where amp sims are concerned, parallel is great. You can take an amp signal, split it off into a couple of different cabinets, maybe blend a V30 with a greenback, or mix a 4x12 with a 1x12 for some extra zing. Or in this case, mix a couple of different mics on that awesome UK Vintage 30 impulse that I released last week. Here's 57. Here's the Lewitt 440. And here's them blended in parallel. But if you run both of these in series, i.e. one right after the other, that's where things go straight to hell. So why does this suck so badly? Because you're basically miking a mic speaker with another mic speaker. It's like taking a great photo of somebody else's photo taped to a wall through a dirty window. It doesn't work. Ask me how I know. Way back about 11 years ago now, my very first gear review on the channel was on the 2 Notes Torpedo Live. I loaded it up, pulled open the software, and got some absolutely horrendous tones. And I thought I was losing my mind, but it turns out that the hardware unit already had an Impulse loaded, and the plugin was stacking up a second one on top. Yes, Impulse in series. It's like putting ketchup on ice cream. Once I turned off the extra one, bam, it sounded like it was supposed to. So take the start. If your amp sim already has an Impulse baked in, which a lot of them already do, make sure that you turn that off first if you're gonna load up a third-party IR loader and start experimenting with other ones. Otherwise, you're just gonna wreck your sound. So don't make the same mistake that I did with the 2 Notes Torpedo Live. Here's a case where we've got Neural Amp Modeler loaded up with a cab, and then I'm running NAD IR right after it with my UKV30 blend. Yeah, don't do that. Turn off the Impulse loader in Neural Amp Modeler and just use NAD IR with those awesome UKV30s. This one still happens on every single fucking mix review I do. You can smell it like a fart in a car. Mixed by the guitar player, because guess what? That's all you can fucking hear! Yes, we get it, Mr. Guitar Player. You, sir, are absolutely amazing. You're a tone god! Congratulations. But did it ever occur to you that there's a reason why they are called bands? Maybe, just maybe, the rest of us would like to hear the drummer or the bass player, assuming he actually showed up to the recording session and wasn't replaced with a plugin, because nobody's gonna notice the bass anyway. Too many guitar players think like guitar players and not like engineers. They don't realize that heaviness doesn't come from cranking the guitars to Jupiter. It comes from bass guitar. That big low end thump, yeah, that is not coming from your scooped mids on the 7th string doing the work. That is the bass guitar making your song not suck, and this is why I scream at bass players, because they fail to realize just how important they are to heavy music. And hey, just a crazy idea here. How about you automate your rhythm guitars to come down a couple of dBs when your guitar solo kicks in? That way, I don't know, maybe we can actually hear the fucking guitar solo! You know, the part that people are supposed to be paying attention to at that point in the song? Mixing is about balance. It is not just turn everything up more. That's what the volume knob on your stereo is for. Now, I just watched the documentary Becoming Led Zeppelin, and Jimmy Page said something that should be tattooed on every guitar player's forehead. He purposefully left space in the music for the other musicians, because when instruments complement each other, the whole song is stronger. And you know what? Zeppelin didn't just leave a mark, they left a crater. So don't be a narcissistic, volume-blasting dumbass. Be like Jimmy Page and learn the fucking concept of space. And maybe, just maybe, your mix won't sound like you shoved your head into a 4x12 and called it art. Yeah, a lot of this is just plain old common sense, but somehow I still have to spell it out over and over for a certain group of people who think recording a DI straight into a potato is a viable tone strategy. You know the type, the ones who post on the forums asking why their mix sounds like it was run through sandpaper while proudly announcing that they track their guitars with a $9 USB mic and their cousin's copy of Fruity Loops. Not you though. You're here, you're paying attention, you actually give a shit. So I respect you for that. And if you really want to shortcut the years of trial and error that I went through, the late nights, the broken cables, the existential meltdowns, wondering why your tone sounds like it's being broadcast from the inside of a cereal box, believe me, I've been there. Then the home studio cheat code is your next move. It is packed with drag and drop solutions, killer impulse responses made from my personal cabinet collection, and step-by-step real-world advice that actually works. And the best part of all, I am not trying to upsell you some platinum exclusive Tone Wizard Deluxe bundle. You get everything up front, my cabs, my amps, the course, the calls, no bullshit. But here's the catch. The early adopters offer ends tomorrow night, and that's it. There's no extended sale. No, we heard you missed it, so we're bringing it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. I'm not gonna offer it again, not at this price anyway. Let me help you get the knowledge, because honestly, the tools are out there. All you gotta do is go find them. And I'll show you how to do that too. You there, Mr. Home Recording Musician. You are smarter than the average Guitar Center mutant. So let's make some great music together. At least until next week, at least until the next big thing's not using amp sims when you don't know how to and a knob native. Native? What the fuck is native? Because yes, I'm looking at you, first gen Focusrite. Not some malnourished, underfed, yeah.